In 2014, in a small town in rural Vermont, a 92-year-old man passed away. He had spent 25 years pumping gas at a service station, 17 years sweeping floors at a JCPenney department store. He hitchhiked to high school. He bought a 2-bedroom house for $12,000 and lived there the rest of his life. When his will was read, the town discovered something nobody saw coming. This rural janitor had $8 million to give away. His name was Ronald Read. Morgan Housel opens The Psychology of Money with him for a reason. As Housel writes, in 2014, fewer than 4,000 Americans died with a net worth above $8 million. Ronald Read was one of them. Read had no inheritance, no lottery win, no tech IPO, no family money. He was the first person in his family to graduate high school, and as Housel describes it, that achievement was made even more impressive by the fact that he hitchhiked there each day. He fixed cars at a gas station for 25 years. He swept floors at JCPenney for another 17. He was widowed at age 50 and never remarried. A friend recalled that his main hobby was chopping firewood. When Read died at 92, the news broke internationally. Headlines everywhere asked the same question. Where on earth did a small-town janitor get $8 million? The answer, Housel writes, was no secret. There was no lottery, no inheritance, no hidden family wealth. Ronald Read did exactly one thing. He saved what little he could from his modest paychecks. He invested it in blue-chip stocks. And he waited. For decades on end, those tiny savings compounded. When the will was finally read, $2 million went to his stepkids. The remaining $6+ million went to his local hospital and his local library. A man whose entire formal education was a hitchhiked high school journey had quietly outinvested most graduates of Harvard Business School. To Housel, Read isn't an outlier or a lottery ticket. He's the most important data point in the entire field of personal finance. Because if Ronald Read could die with $8 million by simply saving and waiting, then the most important variable in finance is not intelligence. It's not formal education. It's not market timing. It's not having a Bloomberg terminal. It's behavior. Housel uses Ronald Read to make the most uncomfortable argument in the entire book. As he writes, in no other field on earth could this happen. A janitor cannot perform open-heart surgery better than a Harvard-trained surgeon. A janitor cannot build a faster microchip than an Intel engineer. But in finance, uniquely in finance, a janitor with patience can absolutely outperform a billionaire with no impulse control. Why? Because money is not a hard science like physics. It's what Housel calls a soft skill, a domain where how you behave matters more than what you know. The book's central argument is built on Read's quiet life. You don't need to be brilliant. You don't need a finance degree. You don't need to predict markets. You need 3 things: a high enough savings rate to set money aside, a long enough time horizon to let it compound, and the discipline to never panic sell. 3 behaviors, not one math formula. Look at this story stripped of romance. The Ronald Read lesson is not about returns. It's about not interrupting the math. Read's secret was not stock-picking genius. It was that for over 50 years, he simply did not interrupt his compounding. He didn't sell during the 1973 crash. He didn't sell during 1987 Black Monday. He didn't sell during the dot-com crash, the 2008 financial crisis, or any of the dozens of recessions, panics, and corrections in between. He just held on, quietly, year after year. Walk into any conversation about Ronald Read with someone in their 20s today, and within 60 seconds, someone will say, "Yeah, but what if I'd put that money in this year's hot ticker instead?" That question is the entire problem. Read's 92-year-old self never asked it. He just held. Ronald Read had no Bloomberg terminal, no Robinhood app, no CNBC, no Twitter. And that absence of stimulus may have been one of his greatest investing advantages. He couldn't watch his portfolio tick down minute by minute. He couldn't see what his neighbor was buying. He couldn't be tempted to do something with his money. Today, every investor has all of those distractions screaming at them. Read's discipline was passive, driven partly by the era he lived in. Yours has to be active. If you've watched this far and felt a small voice say, "This is boring," keep that voice. It's exactly the one Ronald Read learned to follow. So how do you actually behave like Ronald Read in today's economy? 3 things drawn directly from his life. 1. Automate everything. Read saved methodically because there were no easy alternatives. Today, set up automatic transfers from every paycheck into a low-cost index fund the moment your salary lands. Make the saving decision once, then never again. 2. Choose your inputs. Read couldn't watch his portfolio every day. You can. So, delete the apps. Mute the finance influencers. Check your portfolio quarterly, not hourly. The less you watch, the less you will interfere. 3. Build a long enough time horizon that one bad year cannot derail you. Read held for 50 years. You may not have 50, but you almost certainly have 20. 20 years of disciplined compounding in a low-cost index fund has historically been enough to do something close to what Read did. You do not need a Harvard MBA. You need a 50-year mindset. Stay with this for one more second before you scroll. If this episode reframed how you think about saving, hit subscribe. Yield Tales is decoding the psychology of money, one story at a time. And the next in the series is the inverse of Ronald Read's story. Where Read built his fortune through decades of unglamorous patience, the next character built his through one improbable moment that almost did not happen. Morgan Housel runs the math. Out of 303 million teenagers on Earth in his year, only about 300 had what it took. He was one of them. His name was Bill Gates. And in his own words, without that one moment, there would have been no Microsoft. We will see you in the next one.